This time I have a Sony DTC670 that was shipped in by a viewer. This one's got a couple problems. For one, it doesn't play back, and there is no time code being read from the absolute time display, so it's not reading the signal off the tape. But secondly, it's also damaging tape, as I found out when I was observing and watched the tape come off the pinch roller and start to get chewed up. So we got two problems to solve in this one. Let's get started. I have a Sony. This is a DTC670 DAT recorder. Apparently it has no sound. So let's hook it up, and we'll take it apart first because I want to make sure that everything's working like it should, and then we'll hook it up and see if it plays, see why it's not playing. Okay, I got the top off it. First thing you notice is that there's a belt just lying inside here. This would be the belt for the mechanism. So we'll put that back on. When I hit the open close button, nothing happens. Well, why is it not opening? And then I took a second look, and well, there's a belt just lying there. Well, that would explain why it doesn't open. So we'll just throw this belt back where it belongs. Try not to electrocute myself at the same time. There's mains voltage here, but it's got a cover on it, so I'm not too worried. Alright, that belt goes on like that. And that belt goes around there. Kind of like that. Well, like that. Alright. Now it's opening. What else can I see wrong with this thing? Throw a tape in it tight. It's a pretty warm one out today. I just was outside, and it's warm today. I think it's probably one of the hotter days we've had so far. It's kind of overcast. Well, I wouldn't say it's not cloudy. It's smoky is what it is from all the forest fires that are burning. But it's warm. Even with the AC on in here, it's warm. It would be unbearable if I didn't have AC in the shop here. It would be completely unbearable. Alright, tape is threaded. And I'm just going to look at the counter, and I see nothing reading from absolute time. And there's nothing there. Lights on, and nobody home. Tape is moving, but I don't hear anything. Let's take a look at the RF output from the preamp. And maybe we have preamp cap problem on this one, or maybe a bad head. Don't know. We'll find out soon enough. Playback RF is that one, I think. Playback RF. And I see some that doesn't look very good. Let's take a look at the tape as it goes over the pinch roller. You think that might be why it's not working? Yeah. I think that's might not be working. And it's probably chewing up my tape in the process. Just gonna check to see if the guides are loose. They're not too loose, but that tape is certainly riding down that pinch roller. As soon as I engage it, it starts to wind the tape down. Could be something bent. Or it could be something on the capstan too. Oh, look at that. Let me check. Open. I gotta pull this mechanism out and take a look at it. See why it's doing what it's doing to the tape, but it should not be winding the tape around like that. It's definitely got a problem mechanically, I can see. So we'll just remove the front door here and take the mechanism out and see what is up with the mechanism. Mechanism comes out with just 3 screws. And 3 plugs that get unplugged. 1 plug over here, the red plug, the RF out, and the flat cable. And that should lift the entire mechanism out, just like that. Oh, there's 1 more plug over here as well. Okay, we'll shove that out of the way, and we'll look at this mechanism and see what the heck is wrong with it. Oh, can you guys see what I see? Let's zoom the camera in and you guys can take a look and see what the same thing that I'm seeing if the stupid camera would focus. Focus, focus, you piece of junk. What is that on the capstan? You see what I see? It looks like something on the capstan that had maybe a remnants of an old tape that got eaten. But sure looks like there's something right there on the capstan shaft. And it looks like some tape is what it looks like. Let's clear that out of there. For starters, the pinch roller does not look to be worn. It looks fine. But there certainly is some crap on this. Right there, you can see it. I think what I'll do on this is I'm going to pull the capstan motor, just so it's easy to get at it, so I can pull it apart, because it's hard to reach where it is. So it's a little bit easier if I pull the board, then I can drop the motor. I think I can drop it from the top. Pop the board, remove the crappy tape that goes bad after a few years. Lift out the control board. Capstan motor is right here, and I should be able to drop that from the other side. Just unplug it. And remove a couple of screws, and this whole board should drop down, and then I can work on it. Just 3 screws will hold it in from this side. I want to be able to pull the whole system apart, right? I want to be able to pull the whole capstan shaft out from the bearing and clean it, because it's got remnants of tape wrapped around it. So once I've got it out of the chassis, it'll be a little bit easier to work with. Just like that, 3 screws, and the capstan motor will just lift right out, just like this. It's nice and simple. Trust me, it is nice and simple. It just, I got wires hung up here. Alright, okay, now we can now see the crap that's on here. You see that? So now, once it's out, now I can get in here and clean this off. Let's just pull the whole motor apart. Pop off the plastic cover. And there's one screw that's got to come out here. And now I can just pull the rotor down. Get that little. I guess I'll probably clear this off when I do this. Maybe not. I think in the process of removing this, the little, there it is. See, the crap that was on there just got scraped off by the washer that keeps the bearing sealed, and I just cleared it off, just like that. What it was, I don't know, but it was something sticky, that's for sure, that was stuck on there, and it was making the tape ride down the pinch roller and pull it out of alignment. And of course, if the tape's not going around the heads at the right angle, it's never going to play. So now that I've taken that apart, now I can put it back together and maybe put a bit of oil on here. I shouldn't have to put much, but just a little tiny bit of oil into the bearings themselves. Well, they're sintered bearings, so they've got oil in them. to get these little washers back in place. They are what holds the bearing center, and they also keep the oil in the actual bearing itself. So there's one at the bottom and one at the top. They get the one in the bottom first, get it to go through the capstan shaft. There we go. See, now that catch down here, this little slot will hold that in place. The next one goes on the top side, right there, and just like that. That's what holds it together. I'm going to put a bit of oil right down here. I'm going to do it with the motor out. I'm going to put a drop of oil onto the end of a screwdriver, and a little drop of oil there, and then we'll pull this down a bit and put another little drop of oil into the top. That will lubricate the rotor and the I should say the bearings for the capstan and the rotor. Tiny little screwdrivers are good for this. Just put a tiny little drop of oil on the end of the screwdriver and then down into there, and that will run down into the sintered bearing. We're going to do the same thing for the other side. Put a drop of oil on here and set it aside there while I open this up. Get the top part open here. And then the oil up top there. So we can get into the bearing itself, and that will hold it in place. And then we'll take this other piece here and we'll push this down like that. That holds the oil where it needs to be and keeps it away from the tape. Time to reassemble. Guard goes over the Hall effect sensor. Capstan motor goes back into place, and the 3 screws that hold it in place go back in. You need relatively steady hands to do this type of work, obviously. This was Sony's 4-motor design, and it's not bad. You know, this was their cheaper DAT machine. The original ES models had a direct drive drum, a direct drive capstan. They had a loading motor, and they had a direct, or not a direct drive, but well, some of them had direct drive. Some of them had 2 motors for take up and supply. Others had a single motor with a pendulum gear back and forth. And this one here uses just a regular DC motor and a belt to drive the take up and supply spools. Nothing wrong with this design. It was less expensive to manufacture for sure. We've got optical sensors on here. You can see them when the reels turn, and those are detected by these optical sensors over here. Plug in the drum, or plug in the Capstan motor drive plug. I used to have a DAT machine like this with this chassis. I bought it from Cash Converters for a lot of money a long time ago, and then I sold it. I sold it for I think $50 because I wasn't using it, and I had other machines, and it was just collecting dust. And I had the thing up. I had it advertised, and I had it up for sale for the longest time, and finally somebody offered me $50 for it. I should have said no, but I did. Had only I known what some people are paying for these things today. Had only I known what people are paying to get these machines fixed today. Because back in those days, nobody fixed them. They just threw them in the garbage when they broke down. Alright, let's reinstall it and see if anything different has happened. I think probably we might get something off the tape this time. Gonna get anything this time? Is that, first of all, is that tape riding up the Capstan shaft anymore? Tape looks to be clear now. It's not riding. I still don't hear any sound. There's my RF look. I'm just gonna grab my scope here and take a look at my RF. I see some RF. It doesn't look right. Try the cleaning tape and see whether that brings the levels up. The levels look pretty low. Hopefully the head's not worn. The levels look really quite low on it. I'll try the cleaning tape and see what happens. So here goes the cleaning tape. I'll run that through for 10 seconds or so. Still nothing. Okay, next we'll check the preamp caps. Oh, come on, lift those, damn it. There we go. Alright, gotta pop this apart and see what's in here. Aha. You see what I see? I see trouble. I see trouble, and it's spelled 6 ways on this one. I see 6 sources of trouble. Let's just see how bad they really are with my little meter here that will tell me in a split second whether these suckers are any good or not. They're no good. I can tell you right now they're no good. But we're just going to go through the formality and measure them. That yeah, it's bad. It's bad. That one's bad. And 2 microfarads is supposed to be like 22, and 2 microfarads, 22. That one's not even measuring. 290 nanofarads. Yeah, that's bad. They're all bad, every one of them. 3.3 nanofarads. Yeah, this little meter, by the way, I'm finding this is really useful. This is really useful. It's just so fast. I don't have to take them out and use my other meter, and it's got the little probes in there. I can just stick them in there and measure, and yeah, these suckers are bad. Okay, so let's change them, and we'll see whether that fixes this unit. I'm fairly confident that we'll get some sound out of this machine by the time I'm done. Let's dig up some caps. Yeah, I got some caps here. They're a little bit bigger. I'm gonna have to work at making these things fit, but I've done it before, so that's a 4.7. These are all 22s. So yeah, let's get in here and start nipping these things out and laying them down and getting them in here in every which way we can to make these things fit. And we'll see whether that fixes the problem. That I'm sure that it probably will. So I'll take out the 22s first, just because, well, they're the easiest to get out. I'm going to cut them all out. Okay, those are the 22s. Just get the remainder of the bases off the board. As you can see, the caps were leaking, and they've eaten away some of the traces here. Hopefully they haven't damaged them. Get rid of the remainder of the leads that were on the board. That one looked pretty bad, that one, but there's trace there. Now some are going to say you should clean it with IPA. I don't want to wet the board. It's dry now. It's not like it's still wet. I don't want to re-wet the board. Let's get the crap off of here and apply some fresh solder, which I've done. Now time to start mounting the new parts. Oops, that wasn't supposed to happen. Alright, I've got 6 caps mounted, and I gotta see if I can fit this back into this can. I should be able to shove it in here. It's gonna be a tight fit, but it should fit in here. Let's just get the board mounted back into the shield. Not that the shield is all that important, but we'll get it into the shield. No worse for wear. Redo the grounds on here. Just like that. There we go. And we'll have to check the alignment, of course. That's what's called a poor man's test point, by the way. It's just some copper pads, and we just take a bit of solder and just stick a little leg on there so we can clip the probe on. Then I can look at the RF and show you guys that it actually is very good. Lots of signal now. There was nothing before. As you can see, the signal looks great. I don't know that I can adjust it. Let's just see if there's any more signal that can be had by tweaking the exit and the entry guides. I don't think we can get any more signal. That looks pretty damn good to me. See how flat that is? Yep. That is a section of tape that I got crunched, I think. Yep. So you look at the levels of the two heads, right? There's a gap between them. There's one head, there's the other head. Where's my position here, just so you can see them. So by comparison, you see the levels are roughly the same. It's a nice, strong signal from the preamp. By comparison, that DA30 that had the bad head, one level was much lower than the other. Like one was like here on this gain, and the other one was like half of it. That's how you can tell the DAT heads are good. When you're looking at the RF, the levels will be equivalent, and they are. If we look at the signal level here, our levels are the same for both of them. So this machine has got good heads. This machine's actually in great shape. So the owner of this one will be tickled. And it's the same guy that owns the DAP1 that I worked on the other day. He sent me them both at the same time. This one's done. You got one of these Sonys that has no sound. Put your scope on, check the RF. You have low RF, and mine was really low. You could barely tell the heads from the noise. You got to look at the preamp, because the caps in the preamp go bad on these machines. It's an ongoing issue. These ones will never go bad again because I didn't put in surface mounted caps. The caps that I put in here will outlast the rest of the machine. But this machine is in really good condition too. There's not a scratch on it. Well, not many scratches anyway. There's a couple little surface scratches, but it's in great shape. Anyway, that one is done. Yep, everything's working. What am I doing? Rewind the tape. There we go. Gotta put this cover back on. And then I'm all done. Back at the beginning. BB. There, now it's better. Now it's clipped on. Alright, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.